I got obviously one coat of sanding sealer on the wood. It's looking pretty darn good. So there are a couple of little cracks here in the deck. So I'm going to cut those out and see what the issues are behind those. This looks really good. I don't have to worry about that. Here is some cracks around this stanchion base. Everything up here on the foredeck looks pretty darn good. This stanchion base looks fine. This stanchion base, they had done a repair on it, and I'm not sure what they did, but we'll grind that away and see how that looks. Coming aft, this stanchion looks good. This stanchion base looks good. Everything else looks pretty darn good. So we've only got a couple of spots that we have to deal with. Then it's going to be lots of cleanup, filling cracks, and then repainting everything. The cabin top looks good. It's just going to be sort of cleaning up and priming and painting all of that. So a couple of spots, not too bad. The cockpit all looks good. No major repair works or anything that need to be done in here. Although I did notice a little bit of cracking around this. So we'll grind that down and see what's going on there. The same thing on this side, a few little cracks. We'll seal those up. I think I need to take this track off so that we can sand and paint that. And trying to decide whether I want to take the hatch covers off to make it easier to sand and clean and paint everything around them. All of the hardware aft on that hatch cover. So, but let's get going on the fiberglass repair work now. Well, just learned a lesson. Blue painter's tape is cheap, time is not. Do not leave it on the boat. I masked around all of this bright work and then didn't peel it off immediately because I thought, well, I may put a second coat on. So 2 days later, I went to pull the tape off. It's been out here in the sun for a couple of days. Single edge razor blade and way more time than I wanted to spend. So if you're ever masking outside, peel the tape off immediately and then reapply it again the next day if you're going to do it again. What a pain in the neck that was. All right, well now I'm going to get back to sanding fiberglass and grinding. Well, I just made a little more work for myself, but it made me feel a whole lot better about what I'm dealing with here. So, this was where the stanchion was mounted, and it was all broken up, and it was very punky and made me very nervous about what was going on within the deck. So, I cut a lot away. I found some moisture in the balsa core, and I got back to solid balsa core. Found a little bit of weeping in here and was unsure about that, so I cut this chunk of deck away and discovered that the balsa core really tapers down to nothing. So here's the balsa core tapering down to nothing, and then from basically here all the way to the edge of the deck is just solid fiberglass. So this whole section is solid fiberglass. There's a very small amount of balsa where the front of the stanchion base sits. So primarily most of the stanchion bases are in fiberglass. So where there are some cracks, I think I can be far less aggressive. This balsa is really solid, not wet, not rotten, not bad at all. Here there's just a little bit of rot. So I think this piece I'm going to epoxy back in and then just start laying up. I'm not going to put balsa back in here, this small amount of balsa. If I just replace it with fiberglass, is not going to add that much weight. I mean, the balsa core is to make the boat a lot lighter. I'm eliminating a little bit of balsa core and just going to do a layup here, and this is all going to be solid fiberglass, and it is going to be rock solid, and that stanchion base is not going to move at all, and this deck is going to be in great shape. I am going to have to go down below and sort of seal this area up, because that's the ceiling on the inside. And obviously I don't want epoxy and fiberglass resin dripping down into the boat. So I will seal that up from the underside, start laying in patches, glue this piece back in, and then do a layup in through here, and then sand it all down. So now that I know how the boat's constructed, I feel a whole lot better about doing minor repair on that other stanchion base and the one on the port side. So now we'll start that process. So here we are down below, and you can see where the ceiling section is, and that's, you know, the problem that I had. I was so concerned, I don't know if you can really see, that here is the ceiling and it's all cracked. This is on the inside of the stanchion base. But now that I know that this little fiberglass ceiling is really thin and not an issue, I can just do layup and repair that whole section and feel very confident that this boat is going to be rock solid. So it's been a hectic day. Some projects on the boat, other projects on the house, and I had to help my nephew with his boat. Too many things going on. But anyway, I got the first coat of epoxy. A lot of filler mixed in to glue this old piece back in. I put a backing plate underneath it. A lot of epoxy through there underneath to sort of glue everything back in, and a couple of layers of glass to get things going. It's rock solid. Right now I'm going to take my grinder, grind everything off, get it smooth, and get ready to lay another coat in. It is about 4:30, so I should be able to get one more coat of fiberglass in here, and it'll all kick before it gets too dark and too cold. So that's my next step for right now, to get this one cleaned up. And then I have only 2 more stanchion base holes to clean up, and the other 2 are much less damaged than this one was, and they're going to be quick and easy projects. I also took this port out to see how easy it was to remove the ports, so I'm going to pull the rest of them, because it'll be that much easier to sand and paint, and they probably need to be rebedded just like everything else on the boat. So pop those out, and when I'm sanding and painting, this project will be that much easier. So quick grind. Now going to start laying in cloth. This is just filling in a lot of material. These scissors are not the sharpest scissors in the world, but I hate to use nice scissors cutting fiberglass. I probably should get nice fiberglass cutters. But basically just trying to fill in a lot of material. And that looks like enough for this first layup. Go mix up some glass, then come right back. I think I said mix up glass. What I meant was mix up resin. Make sure you get everything nicely saturated. Boy, I thought it mixed up plenty of epoxy. Maybe not. I always hate to mix up too much. But I'm definitely going to need a little bit more. Go mix up a little bit more and I'll be right back. Maybe I'll turn the camera off. So 4 pumps of hardener, 4 pumps of resin. That's what I did for the last batch, so I figured this should be more than plenty. I always try to take off as much as I possibly can so my stirring sticks can be reused without too much crud all over them. Make sure everything is fully saturated with epoxy. And then I have to work out all the bubbles. All right, so that's a nice first bedding. I'm going to re-drill this hole because I've got a hole here, another one somewhere, and another one somewhere there for that stanchion base. And I want to make sure that I at least have this first hole as a guide so that I know where the stanchion base goes. And then the rest of the deck will get brought up, more layers of glass, and then I'll have some nice rock solid material to bolt the other 3 holes into. But I want to guide off of this one so I know how far in and approximately where the stanchion base should go. All right, well that's done. I'm gonna go clean off my roller, throw away my brush. Tomorrow we'll be able to come out and do another coat tomorrow afternoon, grind this one down and put another coat on and make progress. Ultimately we'll be able to fill and fair and get this whole deck back to where it was when the boat was new, or maybe better than new. I love when people say better than new. I don't know how you can be better than new unless you think what you're doing now is better than what was done when the boat was made initially. All right.